I'm Tanika Meeks. Welcome to Get Real. Please take a moment to subscribe on whatever platform you're watching either the videos or the audio. Today's topic is why LinkedIn is part of the racism problem. But before we tackle that issue, I have 4 quick announcements. The Get Real Dating series will be back on its monthly schedule, so look forward to the Get Real Dating series, a new episode at the end of this month. Go to YouTube and check out the Get Real Millennial series with host Elias Meeks. Right now there's only one video available. It's the introduction video, but more are to come. Again, the Millennial series is geared towards that 18 to about 28 range. It's more for that younger audience. But if you know of a young person, a young adult, who would definitely benefit from watching the Millennial series, please tell them to check it out. Elias Meeks, who is my son, by the way, definitely has had his fair share of challenges, but he's learning, he's growing, he's a young person. That's what it means to be young. And I would like to thank everyone who actually went out and checked out Exposure. Exposure is on Live 365. It's my online radio station, and for all those who actually did go out, listen to the content, I definitely appreciate it. Exposure is here to stay. It's like Get Real. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. So next week I will be actually launching a new segment to Exposure. It will be called the Exposure Short Stories. And they will actually just be audio dramas written by me, narrated by me. Not all of them will be narrated by me, but for the most part they'll be narrated by me. And it'll actually just be storytelling. It'll be some erotic series. It'll be some horror. It'll be some apocalyptic. It'll be just all kind of stories. Whatever my creative mind can come up with, that will just be aired only on Exposure. They will not be on the podcast. They will not be on my YouTube channel. They are designed specifically to be short stories for my online radio station Exposure. So again, thank everybody who went out and actually listened to Exposure, and if not, go out and check it out this week. Like I said, we'll have the Exposure short stories out there. Be sure to go out there and take a listen. And did I have any other announcements I needed to make? I think that is it. Oh, I forgot one. I created a Get Real fan page on Facebook. So if you really are a diehard Get Real fan, please make sure you go out and follow the Get Real Facebook page. So any new content, basically go follow it so you can stay up to date on everything that has to do with Get Real. Whether it's the Millennial series, whether it's the dating series, whether it's just the Get Real series with me, whether it has to do with Exposure, please go out and follow the Get Real fan page so you can stay up to date, so you don't miss out on any of the exciting news, any exciting announcements to be made. That will be my way of making sure I can stay in contact with you. And if you're a fan of Get Real, you can go out and leave a comment. If there's something you would like me to discuss, if there's something that you will have a question on or you want me to do a video on, this will be a way for me to communicate with you, and as my audience, for you to communicate with me. So make sure, please go out and follow the Get Real Facebook page. There will be definitely content specifically for Facebook, for my followers. A lot of you know, you can actually go subscribe also on my website, www.tmgetreal. But I really want to start to use the Get Real Facebook page really to build that community and give everybody a chance for their voice to be heard. So those are my quick announcements. The Get Real Dating series is back on its monthly schedule. I've introduced the Get Real Millennial series. Thank everyone for going out and checking out Exposure. And make sure, if not, go check it out this week so you can hear the Exposure short stories. The next week I will be airing 2 erotic short stories. Narrated by yours truly. They get a little graphic. I'm a romance, science fiction romance writer, so I definitely can tend to get a little graphic with the sex scenes, but I really try to make it more about the content of the story. So by all means, hey, go out and give it a listen. I'm updating Exposure weekly with new content. I will definitely, like I said, I'll make sure I keep everybody on the loop on what's going on with the Exposure. So thank you again for everybody who went out and listened. If you haven't, please do. Any constructive criticism, any feedback you would like to give, I am always open. I am not somebody who get offended. If you don't like the content, you feel like I need to do something different, all you can do is help me to get better. So if you have something to say, please either, go to my Facebook, go Get Real Facebook page, go to my website, shoot me an email, Tanika.Meeks@tmgetreal.com. So for today's topic, why LinkedIn is part of the racism problem. So if you don't know what LinkedIn is a career and networking site. It is LinkedIn has 675 million users worldwide, 167 million right here in the US. LinkedIn is geared towards professional white collar jobs. 36% of LinkedIn users are between the ages of 36 and 45. 46 to 55 years of age represents 37% of the user base, and 29% is for people who are 56 years old or older. So LinkedIn has a very large population of older people, definitely 30 plus as their user base. And the reason why I'm going to kind of give you some scenarios I've seen on LinkedIn and kind of really give you my thoughts on why I feel like LinkedIn really is a part of the racism problem, especially as far as professional jobs and the career world in general. This actually came about because of a post. Well, actually, I've seen several disturbing posts on LinkedIn over the past year, and I'm going to kind of walk you through 3 of those that I've seen and sort of the implications I think they bring up and why it's not a problem for LinkedIn. I mean, LinkedIn is like any other social site. Even though it's for career and networking, it's a social site. Regardless of how LinkedIn tries to package that deal, it's a social site. Let's be real about that. The first, with LinkedIn, they post jobs, but it's also like a Facebook. You can go in and you can do posts, you can put up pictures, you can do videos. I mean, a lot of people do advertising for different services or products on LinkedIn. So even though it's a social site, it's still very social. Let me put it that way. So last year, when the kind of riots broke out due to the whole, George Floyd death, and people were protesting, the whole Black Lives Matter movement. LinkedIn is one of those places where people say things, but they don't really say anything. On your Facebook page, you can go in and say anything you want to. Facebook may put you in Facebook jail depending on what you post, but for the most part, all you're going to end up doing is get into a bunch of arguments with a bunch of other people. But LinkedIn really it's supposed to be a professional site. So people at any and all times try to be professional. But last year during the riots, it was a white man, I guess to show his solidarity, towards the Black Lives Matter movement and his support of Black people. He posted a picture of him and his wife and his 2 boys. He was a Caucasian man. His wife was an African American woman, and they had 2 mixed children. And when I saw the picture on LinkedIn, he had wrote a caption, how he normally keeps his, professional life, his personal life, personal. But again, I think to show his support and solidarity, he posted this on his LinkedIn, that he was married to a Black woman and he did have 2 half Black children. And so I think what struck me the most about it is, I'm like, hey, this is a career and networking site, and you're posting kind of a personal picture of you and your family, and he like I said, he wrote a caption, basically stating, he keeps his private life private, but this was his wife and these were his children, again, I think to show his support. But that's not something you see a lot on LinkedIn. Now on LinkedIn, you do see a lot of Black men married to white women, and you do see there are white women who will definitely, post pictures of them and their Black husband. But you don't see quite as often the reverse of a white man posting pictures with his Black wife. And of course the man, the caption, he doesn't see color, he just loves his wife, she's an amazing woman, yada yada yada. So I was like, okay, I get it. You're trying to let people know where you stand on this racism issue because you have to have Black children. I totally understand. Now, was that appropriate for a career and development site? My answer to that would be no. But again, even though LinkedIn is supposed to be a professional site, it's still a social site. Let's be real about that. So I was like, okay, that was special. He was trying to, show support to the Black community and that, Black lives to him do matter because he's married to a Black woman. So that made sense. Now, during the election, there were, whether you voted for Donald Trump, Joe Biden, as I said, Get Real is not about politics. I stay out of the political arena because, quite frankly, to me, it's all BS. And I'm going to be honest with you. I actually went and blocked people on my Facebook page who were Trump supporters and people who had very strong opinions, and because people were getting into arguments and cussing people all out on Facebook, and I just don't have time for that type of drama. I have my own personal life drama. I'm not going to, be cussing somebody out over some White House drama. But again, on LinkedIn, there was some posts. There were people who were making about, of course, Donald Trump being the greatest president ever, and their support for him. And again, what was actually quite shocking to me was not that people were posting it. Is it appropriate for a career and professional website? To me, no. But I mean, again, LinkedIn is a social site. What was so shocking to me about this kind of overwhelming love of Donald Trump was the number of likes that this post got. Donald Trump was the best president ever. How, people definitely felt like the election was rigged, that, actually he won the election. And of course, it was a whole bunch of political conspiracy going on. But these posts were getting, the one I saw, at the time I saw it, was probably well over 40,000 likes. And again, that was just when I saw it. It could have went well beyond that when it came to my feed. And I'm just thinking to myself, wow, like, would this be something I would see outside of Twitter, which Donald Trump was very big on Twitter? A career and professional website showing this kind of love and support of political, this was political rhetoric. I mean, these were people, Donald Trump was the best president ever. Well, that's a very subjective statement, but I mean, clearly there were 40,000+ people who agreed with that statement. And so I was like, okay, did I think it was appropriate for the site? My answer to that would be no. But again, LinkedIn is a social site. And so a couple weeks ago, I was on LinkedIn, and I've actually decreased my time on LinkedIn because of the fact that there are more things that go on LinkedIn besides career and professionalism. So I was on there, and it came across on my feed because someone I knew had liked this post, and it was a post of a white woman laying on a casket. Of course, her husband, or whomever was in the casket, was a military soldier because they had an American flag across the casket. And the caption to this picture was, "And this is why I stand for the national anthem." Now, I immediately, when I saw it, I had a personal reaction, but I'm like, okay. But again, the shocking part of it was that this post had 35,000+ likes. And so I was like, okay. So does this has anything to do with career or professionalism? I mean, there are a lot of military people on LinkedIn. So, I mean, you could say maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But my question really was at that time, what was the message behind that? Now, of course, I didn't comment on the post, although I did want to. But I'm thinking to myself, okay, take a step back. This is a professional, supposed to be career and, professional website, platform. So let me take how I personally feel out of it. I closed LinkedIn down. And like I said, for the past 2 weeks, I haven't really been on LinkedIn much because I'm really kind of tired of the other propaganda that goes on LinkedIn. And that's one reason why I decided to make this video, why I feel like LinkedIn is part of the racism problem. Because on a Facebook, you post something, your friends can go on there and they can, whether people agree or disagree with you, they can go in there and post their personal opinions. But a lot of companies, when you apply to a job, they want your LinkedIn profile. They want to go into LinkedIn and see what you've posted, whether or not you would be a good representation for their company. It's supposed to be a professional platform. And so you can't go in and always say to people what you would really like to say to people. I have, in the number of years I've been on LinkedIn, I have only posted on LinkedIn probably a handful of times. I really do use it more as a networking tool and a way for potential employers to find me, to go in and see, my professional skill set. And so when you see these different posts that really have nothing to do with like career development or, it's supposed to be a career and networking platform, it's getting a little old. And I feel like LinkedIn has become a safe space because of basically who's on LinkedIn. You have older professional, let's face it, Caucasian people who have really found this safe space to put up these, to me, subliminal or maybe some of them are more blatant messages about how they feel. And trying to be a professional woman or a professional black woman, you can't go into someone's post and be like, I feel like you're a fucking racist. Although a lot of things you see on LinkedIn, there is very clear indicators that is indeed true. LinkedIn is in my personal opinion, a predominantly white platform. And you see that, a lot of companies have, LinkedIn pages, and they have, PR people or HR people. And you see these posts after post of nothing but white faces. Oh, this represents our management team and not one black face. Or this represents our management team and it's 20 white men and one white woman. And it's like, but y'all all about this diversity and inclusion. Okay, well, if y'all believe it, I believe it. I mean, it kind of is what it is. But I also feel like LinkedIn is a safe space for these people to post things, because even those of us who disagree with the statement, we're not going to really say how we feel because we want to maintain that professionalism. And so, as I said, I feel like LinkedIn is a very safe space for those either undercover racists or those blatant racists who know that professionalism is going to stop you. Professionalism, when you go to a job, that's why a lot of us code switch. The way I talk at home with my brother, with my son, with my friends is not the same way I talk in an office environment. I very much keep my real personality out of an office environment. And it's kind of the same way with LinkedIn. You keep who you really are off of LinkedIn because you want to maintain that professional space. I didn't get a bachelor's degree. I didn't go get a master's degree for someone to sit and try to judge me based on, oh, well, you don't talk professional. You don't carry yourself in a professional manner. But as I said, a lot of these posts to me weren't professional, but they were on a career and professional website. And so I feel like that LinkedIn, it's that white platform. It is that platform for white people to air their grievances amongst other people who agree with them. And I feel like that's very dangerous when you don't address those issues. A lot of companies now are very big into diversity and inclusion. Oh, they'll post that photo of that black diversity and inclusion officer when the rest of your senior staff is all white. Isn't that sweet? So one person is supposed to change the culture of an entire company. Let me know how well that works out. And then worse yet is that when you see these posts, even though you want to react strongly and really tell these people what you think, you don't do that because you want to maintain your professionalism. So your professionalism stops you because you really just want to go hard on these people and be like, there is something effing wrong with you people. And then now these companies have gone into these, unconscious biases in the workplace. But to me, as a potential job seeker, when I see posts like this and I see HR people liking these posts and senior executives liking these posts, well, what message are you trying to send? Companies have no problem going into your LinkedIn page as a new employee to make sure you would be a good representation for them. But companies don't go into current employees, HR people, PR people, and the C-suite people to see what they're posting on LinkedIn, to see what they're liking on LinkedIn, to see what they're representing on LinkedIn. So as a new applicant, you feel obligated to check me out, but you don't feel the same obligation towards the people who are doing your hiring, the people who are in your senior management. You're not going on there to check what their unconscious biases are. And believe me, if you get on LinkedIn, you will see them very quickly. To me, when LinkedIn say it's a networking site, yes, it's a networking site for white people to meet other professional white people who think the same way they do. And so I don't understand why more companies don't use LinkedIn to, they want to talk about unconscious biases. Go on LinkedIn and see what your people are liking. Go on LinkedIn and see what your people are posting. Because if I was an HR person and I saw one of my recruiters go like a post that says, this is why I stand for the national anthem, well, what's the message behind that? Well, what are you trying to say? What is the belief behind that? Because there is a belief behind it. Who is that post really intended? Or what are you trying to say? And I feel like companies need to hold their employees accountable, not only just for what they post for the company, but what you go in and like and what you go in and post on your personal LinkedIn page. Just like you can hold me as a new employee accountable, why don't you hold them accountable? And to me as a new employee, when I see these things, I'm thinking, okay, posts like this, Donald Trump is the best president ever, or this is why I stand for the national anthem. What are my chances as a black woman, a black person, getting on with companies like this? Is that your company culture? When your senior HR person is liking a post that says, this is why I stand for the national anthem. What are they saying? What is the belief behind that? What is the thinking behind that? The people who don't stand for the national anthem, they're what? Have not black and brown people died for this country? So you post some picture of a white woman over a casket with the American flag, and this is why you stand for the national anthem. Explain that to me in plain English, if you would, because I'm confused. Because there have been people of all races who have died for this country. And yet, when you're a black or brown person, whether you go to war or not, when you come back, you're treated like a second-class citizen. So again, please explain to me the thought process behind this is why you stand for the national anthem. And please keep your symbolism out of it, because I don't want to hear that shit. Hit me with some concrete facts. But again, these are conversations companies don't want to have with their HR people. They don't want to have with their PR people. They don't want to have with their senior leadership. You just want to go see if this new secretary that you're hiring, if she's carrying herself in an appropriate manner. But you don't care about those at a whole nother level. LinkedIn is indeed a problem. Because it's a nice little platform for white people to go find other white people who think the same way they think. And for those who will be like, well, there are a lot of black people who are very liked on LinkedIn. Spare me, please. Just stop. Yes, that is a true statement. There are a lot of black men and women who are very popular on LinkedIn. Now, what they're popular for, that's anyone's guess. But being popular on LinkedIn does not matter. There are a lot of racists who love black football players, black NBA players, black soccer players. That still doesn't mean they're not a racist. Just because you like a black person does not mean you do not have prejudices against black people or brown people or Asian people or whatever you want to say about Mexican people. I mean, whatever you want to say. And LinkedIn has become that platform where you can go when you feel a particular type of way and network with other people who feel the same way you feel. And it's just undercover. It's wrapped in professionalism. But to me, if you want to look as a company, if I want to go see unconscious biases, I would head straight to LinkedIn. Because your employee profiles will tell you a lot about what they think and what they believe. And I think companies need to start holding, especially people who are HR people who are in charge of recruiting and promoting, and anyone who they consider senior leadership. What do you represent? What do you believe? You don't have to sit here and tell me you feel like all Black lives matter. But if you telling me you feel like some white woman being draped over a casket with an American flag and this is why you stand for the national anthem, explain that to me. What is the belief behind that? What is the thinking behind that? Or do you think the people who don't stand for the national anthem? And what are the color of those people? Break it down for me. Make me understand. And until there is some accountability for the things that are being posted on LinkedIn, I think LinkedIn need to be honest that yes. Yeah, do you post jobs? Yeah, do people give career advice? Yeah. But it's a social site like every place else. It's just wrapped in professionalism. And people express their opinions all day, every day. And honestly, I'm getting a little tired of the white propaganda. It's sad and it's unnecessary. And I think LinkedIn and I think employers need to start calling those things out. Stop checking on the janitor who you just hired to make sure he's acting appropriate on LinkedIn. Go in there and check on your C-suite executives, your senior leadership, your HR people. What do they like and who do they follow? Because if all the people there, the friends within their network, all look like them, you might have a problem on your hands. Racial discrimination hasn't went anywhere. Racism hasn't went anywhere. Sexism, ageism, none of these things have gone anywhere. And while nobody wants to have a conversation about them, can we please stop pretending like they don't exist? Can we just move beyond the fantasy land that somehow racism died and I'm not for sure when? And when you got sites like LinkedIn who can get large groups of predominantly white people together, this is the type of BS you get. And honestly, I don't even fool around on LinkedIn anymore. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of the whitewashing. And I'm sick of the fact that white people feel like they can go in there and post anything they want to because it's a professional site. Okay, professional meaning what? You're not giving professionalism advice. What advice are you giving to somebody talking about Donald Trump was the best president ever? What career advice is that? It's silly and it's stupidity. And that's why, honestly, I actually even thought about deleting my LinkedIn page. I'm like, I have seen this for far too long and I'm sick of it. The microaggression, the just post that just like this has nothing to do with professionalism or career development. And the companies that just love posting their all right white senior management staff. That's cute. Oh, of course, we do know you hired that one black person for diversity and inclusion. But is that enough? So I have nothing against LinkedIn. I just know I don't spend as much time on there as I used to. I don't even actually like getting on it anymore because it, to me, has become tired. I don't like the messages that are being sent on LinkedIn. And I don't like what I'm seeing. And LinkedIn ain't going to do anything because they don't care. And these companies ain't going to do anything because honestly, they don't care. But that's just my opinion. I'm Tanika Meeks. This is the Get Real Vodcast. New content will be posted every Saturday. If you got a comment, question, please go in and drop me a line. You can either drop it on my website, www.tmgetreal.com, or again, please go like the Facebook page. So if you have a comment, just head over to Facebook, shoot me a comment. I'm not on Facebook as much either, but I do get notifications when stuff happens on Facebook. So that way I can be sure to respond. Word of mouth is still the best form of advertising. So if you like the videos, you like the podcast, please tell another person about it. I'm sorry this was kind of a heavy topic today, but LinkedIn really has just gotten on my nerves. I'm just really tired of that place. And I just had to get it off my chest. So until next week, I love you guys.